Hi, I'm Laurie, and I want to thank you for tuning in. It's been a while. I've been off the video and podcasting for some weeks, actually, the whole month of October. Now, let me explain what's going on. And first, I want to just give a disclaimer here. This is in no way anything to tell you what to do or to advise you in any way. I'm just coming and sharing my story with you. That's all. You do with it, what you choose to do. It's more just informative, maybe eye-opening at this point. But so, like I said, I haven't been in the month of October. I haven't done anything, and that's because I've had COVID. And so I'm still in my pajamas. As you can see, I'm recuperating. I'm still on oxygen, and I wanted to kind of share with you, sort of in this state of feeling raw and vulnerable. But I think it's a great state to come to explain just how I feel. And this is just what this is, just a sharing of my experience. I don't know how many people you know that have had COVID. My understanding is that when I was in the hospital and I was in ICU, I was told that 1/3 of the people, depending on how compromised they are not coming out. And that's kind of scary, especially when you're in ICU and your vitals are very low, as mine were. I was a pretty sick girl. And but I also feel that this is super important to share, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I feel compelled to share it. So it started out as just a sinus cold, and I understand some of COVID symptoms do that. I also want to tell you that this is my second go around with COVID. So I had it back in January of 2020, and it started out as a cold in my throat, went down into my chest. I went to urgent care, and they told me that I had pneumonia. I looked like death warmed over. I really was so sick at that point. And I went home, and I was sick for 6 weeks, but I recuperated and got better, and I was fine after that. I never really was sick after that until this go around again. So you think, wow, not once but twice. Phew. I've not been vaccinated. I will not get vaccinated due to the fact that I don't trust what's in the vaccine. I know as a homeopath, and I have been for over 25 years, I feel confident in my body being able to build antibodies. But on that note, I want to say that, and this is not only my opinion, I've heard this from others in the hospital and outside, that this is a kind of animal that keeps morphing. It is not what it originally was. So it has changed, and I'm sure that's why I got it the second time. Second time, it's a pretty rough go. Like I said, it started out as just a watery cold, like anybody would get a cold. And I had that for a little while. And then I started to get a little bit sicker, and I was just sitting, not doing anything, just resting. But I thought it was just really kind of taking a toll on me, and that's what I was doing. I was resting. And then it turned. It changed quite suddenly, actually. Within, I don't know, I probably had it about the runny, watery, cold for maybe a week and a half or so, and then it changed on me, and the mucus got like glue. It was so thick. I mean, I could just not get it off my tongue. It actually would make me not be able to catch a breath because I couldn't get it out of my throat. It was like literally pulling it out of my nose like in strings. It was pretty harsh. There was a lot of blood in it. And I could feel where when I would cough, normally it was a cough like just in the throat, this was moving, and so that didn't feel too good to me. So I knew something wasn't good at that point at all. And the fact that I had absolutely no appetite except for a little bit of fruit that was very juicy, like strawberries. You know, can you live on just strawberries? I was taking some supplements, some vitamins and that, but my son flew in from Seattle, and he came in late one afternoon, and he took some vitals because he was at one point with EMT, and he said my vitals weren't good at all, and my oxygen was really low. You're supposed to be over 90, and it was 71, which is not good at all. So he tried talking me into going to the hospital. He called the emergency, the ambulance, and they came and did, took vitals and that, and urged me to go. But here's what I want to say. It was something that I really had to get myself prepared for, because I kind of, in a way, although I have never been in the hospital except to have babies, and that was 38 years, 40 years ago. I've never been sick like this. I've always taken care of, as a homeopath, what I needed with myself. So I've never had anything. I've only just visited people in the hospital. What I needed to do was prepare myself, because I kind of knew what I was walking into, and I wanted to sleep one more night in my bed and kind of get prepared. And I knew, 8 hours could make a difference. But on the other hand, I kind of kept checking in with my spirit guide family, and I didn't see that it was going to go real bad for me. I'll just say that. But it didn't mean I wasn't in for a bumpy road. So next morning, my son took me to emergency. They admitted me, put me in ICU for 5 days, and did a lot of tests. Tests came back good. Definitely came back COVID, came back pneumonia. Could hear the congestion in my lungs, especially the lower lobe on the right side. Had no energy, although I did start to build an appetite. I did take some steroid while I was in the hospital. Never taken steroids before. I know what they're all about, but in this case, never having taken them, I felt I was okay for a couple days. Also took an anticoagulant because there's a lot of concern with COVID about blood clotting. And so I was okay with that for a few days too. They told me I was going to be in for a few weeks because it wasn't looking good. I started to rally quite quickly. Everything started to change in quite a good manner, quite quickly. And they give you this little plastic thing to breathe in, and it, the ball goes up and then it drops down. And you have a certain point you have to reach. And I hit the mark and even went higher. So I was able to get the breath in, even though even at this point can still feel like a little bit of just discomfort in the chest. Not quite as able to take that really deep breath. But but I'm working on it, and I continue to work at that all the time because that is very important to circulate the air in the lungs. So I guess they moved me down to a regular floor for overnight, did a little more blood work, and when I talked to the doc, I just said, if I'm not taking anything and I'm just getting oxygen, I can do that at home. I can sleep better at home. I can eat better at home. I will, feel better, and so that will add to my repairing my body. And so she agreed, and I really appreciated them at the hospital here. They all did a great job, and they work very hard to do their very best to help people recover. What saddens them is when they work so hard and people leave and don't follow through, or that don't make it, and it's got to be pretty rough to watch that happen. But they work hard. So, and kudos to them. They did a fantastic job, and I will always be grateful for that. So they let me go home, and they came to give me oxygen. I am taking my oxygen, using it. When I came home, we got a hold of some ivermectin. It is not easy to get a hold of. You have to order it across the border. It takes some weeks, but it would be advantageous to kind of have it on hand. I want to say when I took it, it wasn't like, wow, things changed, because they really didn't suddenly change. But I want to say each day, and now I've been home, let's see, I guess about 6 nights, so maybe a week now. I am much better than where I was. My energy levels are much better. I'm eating really well. So I took the ivermectin. I think it was the second day I was home, it finally came. Took it the 5 days, 1 tablet, 12 milligrams is for 150 pounds. I'm about 125, so I shaved off a little edge and took it once a day for the 5 days, which is what's basically prescribed on the internet, and I was going by that. I did some acupuncture the other day, which I think really helped a lot, and went back to the GP for them to check my vitals. My vitals looked good, although my oxygen still could come a tad higher, and I would understand that, so I'm still going to remain on the oxygen, because your body, ultimately, everything boils down to oxygen, no matter what. Food you eat, whatever you do, everything. It's about turning into oxygen and feeding everything, because that's what your body runs on, basically. And so I'm being intelligent about taking the oxygen until I no longer need it. So that's why the tube in my nose, I sleep with it. Once in a while I take it off, move around a little bit, check my oxygen levels, want to see, how I'm doing with it all. And it's improving, so I'm very happy about that. I want to say there's a spiritual side to this too. And now that I am beginning to feel better, and I didn't want to come and talk about this till I had a little bit of energy, because even just setting up the camera and everything takes energy. And if you have minimal, like let's say 10%, you don't want to use it setting it up a camera. So I waited till I had some energy to be able to come and talk, but I really wanted to talk candidly and just share this. Like I said, there's a spiritual part of this too, and when I first came home, I just was focused on just gaining a little bit of energy and strength. Now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I'm focusing more on extracting what this is all about, and there are multifacets to this. And I'm going to share that maybe in my next video, because I think it deserves its own time to talk about. And also some of the dark side that I experienced while I was really sick. So I want to share that with you. One thing I will say is that I did check in several times while I was really sick, asking if this was my out. Was I leaving the earth plane? And I did not hear that, but I did hear that I was sick and that there was concern and to take care of myself in the proper manner, because I do have things that I can do while I'm here, while I've chosen to be here. So far, that's part of my journey. Thank you so much for just listening. I hope it's been informative. I hope you'll share it maybe with other people. I do want you to know that this is real. I don't know what anybody's beliefs are about the COVID, but you know, this is a real thing. This is a real animal. And like I said, it was very different the first time I got it, and now, not quite 2 years later, getting it again, it's morphed and almost, what I want to say, maybe a little more dangerous, because it takes on a new side to it, and it almost like it's stronger. You know, a lot of things, and just to say a side note to this, people who have been on a lot of antibiotic, they don't build their own immune system very well. And so they'll find that when they contract some type of microorganism, it becomes very strong. And so I kind of feel similar about this, that it's really taken on this nature that they really don't have a great understanding in the hospitals of which way it's going to go for a person, because a person can be going this way and then suddenly take a turn. I mean, this is quite a strange animal, and I am so grateful to be here, to be alive. You know, it's when you're pretty sick, it's pretty intense. And, you know, there's a part of you that you just want to get better. And there's a part of you that is so sick that some part of you just doesn't really care. It's a strange dichotomy, but real. So please take care of yourself. Build your immunity. There are so many ways to build your immunity. I believe what happened to me is that I've been working about 5-6 weeks straight with no day off, and just down for the count, and it was no good. I knew something was coming. I could feel it. I knew it was going to be big. I knew almost that I couldn't avoid it, and that I was going to get something. Didn't know quite to this degree, didn't have all of that information, but could feel it. And so I'm really grateful to be here. It makes you realize a lot of things, and I'm going to share more of that. And I really look forward to talking again with you and just sharing my journey in this. And what I'd ask is, if you just leave a comment, what's your thoughts? Like, I want to know. I want to have conversation about this. This is something that I think is still going to be around for a while, another couple years maybe. And that's not just my opinion. I've heard this from others. We need to open this up. We need to talk about things. And not just from the scared, fearful point, but really talk about things. So leave me a comment. Tell me what your thoughts are, what's happening. And I look forward to talking with you again and seeing you really soon. I'll do another video very, very soon. Okay, take care.